So I just finished watching Sword Art Online Abridged for the very first time, and yes, you heard me correctly when I said for the first time. And despite it being an ongoing series on YouTube for the past 12 years and me seeing small clips of the show here and there,
we must save my family!
I never really had the urge to watch it just because of my love for the original series. Sword Art Online was the first real anime I ever watched, and with so many other YouTubers making videos slandering it, I started to develop a grudge against Sword Art Online Abridged, despite having never watched the series, just because I felt like I needed to defend the original version of the show that I loved so much. But over time, I saw more and more small clips of it.
For you see, this whole time, Commander Heathcliff has actually been Kayaba Akihiko!
And finally decided to give it a full watch for the first time. Now this video is mainly focused on the fairy dance arc, but I will quickly cover some things from the Aincrad arc that really stood out to me, like the fact that Kayaba accidentally created a bug that made players die in real life if they die in the game, and was too ashamed to end SAO and admit how big of an idiot he was, which makes him just casually go along with the entire thing.
Unfortunately, in your sleep-deprived state, you accidentally managed to create a glitch that kills players when their avatars die!
Yeah, there it is.
That was probably my favorite part of the entire arc. That was absolutely hilarious, and also the fact that Kayaba had implemented NPCs that were meant to teach you how to easily beat the game, but since Sachi's guild stole them, that's the reason why all those players in the game died, and that the entire thing could have been avoided if it weren't for that one thing.
Next thing you know, your tutorial NPC is nowhere to be found, and players are dropping like Dorito-encrusted flies!
That writing was absolutely brilliant, not to mention the constant mocking of the original version, when Kayaba is asked why he did all of this, and he responds,
What exactly were your plans?
You know, it's funny. I don't even remember anymore.
Are you f***ing serious?
Oh my god, no! Could you imagine? 2 years and that's what I give you? Man, that'd be unsatisfying! But no, I did this because of Metacritic.
Now the first noticeable change in the abridged version is that Sugo has an actual motive in this version. Back in the Aincrad arc of SAO Abridged, Kayaba had made it so that your real life abilities applied to your in-game stats, which SAO allowed you to therefore level up those stats inside of the game. And one of the really important stats you could level up is Charisma, which then if your Charisma stats were to become high enough, that would allow you to persuade others into doing whatever you want, which Sugo's end goal with this technology is to be able to persuade Asuna into marrying him once she wakes back up in the real world, and to eventually take over the entire world himself.
With a high enough charisma stat, even the most asinine suggestion becomes impossible to refuse.
Which this one change alone turns Sugo into what I consider to be one of, if not the best villains in the entire series. And that includes the arcs that haven't been adapted into Abridged yet. Now don't get me wrong, Sugo still comes off as creepy, but the overall sense of humor definitely deflects from the creepiness of the character.
She'll be more than happy to say yes. Isn't that right, my dear?
Oh yes, absolutely! I can't wait to pick me off a piece of that sweet Suko dick!
Which allows us to still hate the character, but also acknowledge that the character has an actual motive, other than just forced marriage. Also, the fact that Asuna's dad wanted to pull the plug on Asuna to save himself from medical bills.
Beautiful little parasite, sucking the marrow from my very bones!
I'm not letting you pull the plug, sir!
Ugh. Sorry, force a habit.
But instead decides to marry her off to Sugo so he can pay her medical bills instead is absolutely diabolical. But the thing is that this setup works geniusly, because we see in season 2 in the original version just how detached Asuna is from her parents. So Asuna feeling so detached from her family that her dad is willing to marry her off to some random guy that works for him honestly suits her backstory really well, because her parents only wanted what's best for them and not what what's best for her. I don't know if this was on purpose, but if they ever abridged season 2 of the series, this would set up the Mother's Rosario arc literally perfectly. The next thing I want to talk about is Lifa's character, which is the other big change in the abridged version. The fact that they were literally able to cut out the entire incest plotline and turn it into an actual like super wholesome story is literally amazing. Like, one of the biggest changes is that in the abridged version, Suguha finds out that Kirito is actually her brother in the real world about like 7 episodes earlier than in the original version.
Oh, duh, I forgot to mention. My name's Kirito, by the way.
Oh, okay. Bye! Son of a horse!
And throughout the episodes, we get to see her underlying hatred for her brother without actually knowing why she treats him like this.
But I swear you can trust me. I have nothing but the purest of intent. Hey! Hey, you! Yeah, I see you! You get out of here! This one's not for you!
Which later on, we start to get actual in-depth dialogue about Kirito's home life, which was definitely something that was missing from the original version. Like, we did have some, but not to the same level of depth as the abridged version. He talks about how his parents were never around and how his sister belittles everything he does and likes.
I'm a huge fan of the way she berates and belittles everything I hold dear because I don't have a buttload of sports trophies like her. I should really be thanking her for pointing out how my hobbies will leave me to die alone and unloved, slowly consumed by my legion of cats.
And we are hinted at an underlying reason why she treats him like that. Now, even though I still found the overall plot of the abridged version not very interesting, it doesn't matter simply for the fact that this arc is literally based on character growth. Rather than trying to have a super intense plot, it is able to completely disregard the fact that Kirito is completely overpowered and wins every fight with ease because the battles aren't the meat and potatoes of this arc anymore, which the writing in this is so well done. Like, you got rid of one of the biggest problems in Sword Art Online, which is having an overpowered main character, simply just by replacing the overall focus of the story. Like, 10 out of 10 well done. I feel like the creators just do not get enough praise for this decision, and one of the reasons why this change works so well is just the fact that Lifa realizes Kirito is her brother so early on. We even get an actual good backstory to Kirito about how he felt the need to escape the real world using gaming because it's the one place he feels he actually belongs, and that it's something that he's actually good at for once. He expresses how he has no friends in the real world, and that it feels like there's nothing back there for him, which a large majority of gamers feel the exact same way, and Kirito's backstory makes him really relatable.
Face it, what's the real world got to offer? Asuna slipping away, Tiff's got a family to look after. Who does that leave me with? Suga? Fat chance.
Now, when it's revealed to Kirito that Sugu has known that it's been him this entire time, we see the underlying reason why Sugu had been lashing out against Kirito, which is because when they were younger, Kirito's grandpa wanted to teach him kendo, and Sugu was allowed to join alongside, but Kirito eventually left kendo to go do computer stuff, which that made her sad because she had this awesome friendship with her brother that she looked up to and wanted to be like.
I don't even know you anymore! You just left me! We used to be best friends! I wanted to be just like you!
But when Kirito quit kendo, her grandpa didn't want to teach Sugu anymore, but Sugu roughed it out despite her grandpa trying to make her quit. She put all this effort into trying to make it look like a lot of fun, hoping that Kirito would come back to kendo, and that way they could regain their friendship. Now, one of my personal favorite changes is that when Rekken confesses his love and care for Lifa, she actually agrees to be his girlfriend.
I wouldn't be a very good girlfriend if I kept letting you use that piece of junk.
I couldn't ask you to. Wait, did you just...
Rekken's character still acts the same way as he did in the original version, like kind of a nerdy weirdo that's very caring about her, but in the abridged version, Lifa is actually able to acknowledge her feelings because she isn't in love with her brother. Like, this one change to the plotline alone makes the abridged version better than the entire original Fairy Dance arc. And with Rekken confessing his true feelings to Sugu, that gives Sugu the courage to fully open up to Kirito and apologize to him for the way that she had been treating him. We replaced the creepy incest plotline for a really heartfelt apology between between the two, expressing how they are both sorry that they weren't there for each other when they were younger, and that they missed their friendship that they used to have when they were kids. It wraps up the emotional growth storyline of the characters in such a satisfying and perfect way, which it makes you question how the original storyline could be so bad. But yeah, I know SAO Abridged is like one of the most loved series of all time, and I'm definitely a fan as well. As someone that has always hated this arc, I didn't expect to be so pleasantly surprised when watching the abridged version, and I definitely understand why this version of the show is so loved. Anyways, that was the video. If you made it this far, please be sure to like and subscribe. But yeah, that's all I got. Peace.